Each year, the ancient Spanish monastery opens its doors to over 50,000 visitors who come to find peace and inspiration, listen to beautiful music, and to experience the monastery's gardens and extraordinary Romanesque and pre-Gothic architecture. Construction began near the village of Sacramenia in the province of Segovia in northern Spain in the year 1133. King Alfonso VII paid for construction of the monastery as a thank offering for his successful defeat of the Moors in a major battle. The building was completed 8 years later in 1141, over 350 years before Columbus set sail for the New World. Dedicated in honor of the Virgin Mary, the monastery was originally named the Monastery of Our Lady, Queen of the Angels. Bernard of Clairvaux was the abbot and a leading influence in the church during his lifetime. Just 21 years after his death in 1153, Bernard was canonized as a saint, and the monastery was renamed in his honor. Cistercian monks continued to occupy the monastery for nearly 700 more years. A social revolution broke out in the 1830s. The cloisters were seized, sold, and converted into storage for grain and a stable for animals. The monastery lay in ruin for almost 100 years. In 1925, William Randolph Hearst purchased the cloisters and the monastery's outbuildings. The structures were dismantled stone by stone. The pieces were numbered for identification, packed in protective hay, and shipped across the ocean to the United States. Soon after the shipment arrived, the Great Depression began, and Hearst financial problems put the crates with the stones in a Brooklyn warehouse for 26 years. 1 year after Hearst's death in 1952, they were purchased by 2 Ohio businessmen to be reconstructed as a tourist attraction on the current 20-acre site. A year later, the crates of stones were removed from the warehouse, and over 11,000 wooden crates arrived at Port Everglades in Miami. 23 men spent 90 days opening the boxes. When they were finished opening the boxes, they burned the wooden crates, and 7 tons of nails were sold off as salvage. They sorted more than 35,000 stones in what Time magazine called the greatest jigsaw puzzle in history. 7 months after work started, the first 2 walls of the cloister walk began to take shape. The stones had to be fitted into their proper places. Some of the stones weighed more than 1.5 tons. 1 year after the work had begun, the monastery was nearly half completed, but thousands of stones still remained to be fitted in place. It took 19 months and the equivalent of $13 million in today's currency to put the monastery back together. A few of the many highlights includes an ornate hand-forged iron bell used to call the monks to meals, a detailed marble relief that depicts the birth of the Christ child and the visit of the 3 kings, and a life-size sculpture of King Alfonso VII. In 1964, the property was purchased by a multimillionaire banker and philanthropist who belonged to the local Episcopal Church. The cloisters were presented to the Episcopal Diocese, and today the monastery is home to the Episcopal Church of St. Bernard de Clairvaux. Masses are held in English and Spanish on Sundays and throughout the week. Special services are held for holy days such as Palm Sunday. Nearly 1,000 plants and trees of various types cover nearly 20 acres. The gardens surrounding the monastery have both formal designed areas as well as native tropical landscape. The grounds are central to the character and experience of the natural beauty and tranquility found around this sacred space. The ancient Spanish monastery is a popular place for weddings, quinces, and other special events. The monastery cloisters and gardens have been featured in many music videos, popular television shows, commercials, and full-length motion pictures. And today, the museum serves over 2,000 public, private, and homeschool children each year. All educational programming is tied to Florida curriculum standards. Tours are available most days in English, Spanish, Italian, French, Polish, and German. The ancient Spanish monastery is a Blue Star Museum, a Dade Heritage Site, a historical site on the National Register, a member of the American Alliance of Museums, a partner with Smithsonian Magazine Museum Day, a certified wildlife habitat, and a Florida Heritage Site. Thank you for coming. We hope you enjoy your visit exploring the ancient Spanish monastery.